I had been a real skeptic about the campaign, believing that your numbers were small, there weren't very many, there was a nucleus of people who knew and understood and wanted freedom. But guess what? There's a lot of people out there. And not only are there a lot of people out there that had already been introduced to the ideas and now are becoming aware of what's happening and joining us, when a new generation starts looking at, when this younger generation starts looking at this campaign, they are being attracted to this message by the tens of thousands of people. So the remnant was much larger than I dreamed, but the growth is astounding that people now in this country are recognizing the fact that we indeed have problems and there are answers. And we don't have to be radical people. We have to point out that the people in charge are the radicals. And it isn't difficult to explain how freedom really works. People ask me, why do I think the campaign is going so well? And it's no more complicated than saying, freedom is popular. But it's so encouraging when I have young people come to my office now in many numbers, and it's the young people, the teenagers that are coming and bringing their parents. And I ask them, well, how did you people get interested? And they say, oh, it's my 13-year-old, my 17-year-old. They told me about you, and we looked at your web stuff, and then they came. So I believe there has been a smoldering fire going on for a good many years, but that fire has broken loose, and we have that fire of freedom spreading ravenously across the country. And we have a ways to go. They say that we don't do well in the polls, and sometimes you wonder whether the polls are very accurate or not. But it just may be that they're not calling all our friends on their cell phones these days. But there's every reason to believe that a lot more can happen because the campaign is very early. That is the reason I thank you very much, for joining this effort, for all our benefit, for the benefit of the next generation. And not only is this philosophy not radical, it's really traditional, it's conservative, it's constitutional, and it is really going back to what made America great. It's the rejection of the American principles that has gotten us into this mess where we're overextended. The country is literally bankrupted. The dollar is in close to being in shambles and will continue to go down, which means interest rates are bound to go up, inflation rates are coming back, and you're going to see, in spite of the government statistics today, that more and more people are going to have trouble surviving in this type of climate. So there's going to be more and more people concerned. So our job is to make sure that our message is heard, that people know their alternatives, give people hope, and to make them feel good about the fact that it's no more complicated than returning the responsibility and the principle of liberty to the individual for them to do the job. There's no way that we know the future. We don't know what will come tomorrow or the next day. I'll tell you what, there were a few minutes when I was on the stage in South Carolina where I thought the future would be very short. But lo and behold, the attack turned out to be worth probably 10 or 15 or 20 million dollars worth of free advertisement for our message. We never never knew that conserving our funds and planning to spend our monies at a later date, we may raise a modest sum of money, a lot more than we did in the first quarter. We didn't know that putting it in the bank and not spending it would be so beneficial. So we ended up getting more attention because we had more money in the bank than a few others. And for the publicity of being conservative with the funds that had been donated, all of a sudden it was that issue, that event, that probably got us another $5 or $10 million worth of free advertising. So because there's always unintended consequences of economic intervention and foreign intervention, and we have to suffer those consequences, sometimes there are very beneficial, unanticipated consequences of doing the job the right way. But let me finish by saying, let us not be discouraged. We do still have opportunities in this country. We still are a very prosperous country. We still do have an ability to communicate. We are seriously threatened the undermining of our civil liberties and our financial situation. But quite frankly, we can still speak out and we can still participate in the electoral process. And as long as we can do this, we should do it in a peaceful manner, and we should work hard and make sure this message gets out, because I am convinced of one thing. I am convinced that the message of liberty is the answer. It works. It works economically. It works by protecting the rights of the individual, and it's the proper way to operate with the people around the world. They claim that our philosophy is isolationist. Well, quite frankly, I think it's the opposite. I mean, if you're isolationist, you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to trade with people. But where are we today? Have we not isolated ourselves from the world? We have more enemies and we have less friends than ever before. So I would say it's our method that will make us a better member of the world community, where we can benefit from this and we can set the example that we should be setting, and all we have to do is believe in liberty and work hard for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Those who have lunch tickets, it's time to head over to Michael's. It is, if you go back to Shoreline